Hello, Joshua. It's Sergeant Frost from Staymet Police Station. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, Joshua. You made a call to the police, I don't know if you can remember, regarding a complaint.
Yes.
And it's a complaint about, it says here, about the custody officer taking your fingerprints.
No, it's a complaint, to be clear, about the fact that West Yorkshire Police has claimed that a custody officer in a uniform at a police station taking my fingerprints. And furthermore, what I'm actually complaining about more specifically is, according to a Freedom of Information request I've received a response to, West Yorkshire Police has no specific policy deciding whether to record private medical information on your databases. And yet, the information was recorded, which means it is the custody officer who did it. And he did it based on his own opinion on the matter, not based on any specific policy. Because I've got a request, I have a request response stating very clearly West Yorkshire Police does not have a policy. I could not be provided with West Yorkshire Police's policy on whether to record any specific medical condition because no such policy exists. And yet the sergeant recorded the information, which means he chose to do it, and it was his decision, not a policy. So it was the actions of a member of West Yorkshire Police in uniform, not following a policy like a robot. He just chose to record it personally. And yet I've been told that I'm not making a complaint about a member of West Yorkshire Police.
And so this is when you got booked into custody about your medical issues? Is this what you're saying about when you got booked into custody?
That is an offensive way to describe detaining someone without their consent. How dare you? It's not a hotel.
No, Joshua,
it's not a hotel. I'm getting really fed up with this. West Yorkshire Police's dismissive attitude towards my problem.
You phoned me and I'm phoning you back.
Yes, and you've just described me being detained without my consent as being booked into somewhere.
No, I haven't described that.
That's offensive.
I haven't described that. You're putting words in my mouth. I never said that.
You said booked into custody. I'm recording this phone call. I have a transcript of it. So now you just lied to me about what you've said to me. I have a recording of you saying booked into custody.
Yes, Joshua, that's what we call it, booked into custody.
Well, that is offensive. I was detained without consent. You are not running a hotel.
Nobody said we were running a hotel.
Well, what would you describe as booking someone in somewhere?
Because I'm a custody sergeant myself, the booking in procedure in custody is you have to be authorised detention. When the custody sergeant's authorised detention, you get booked in and they take your personal details and they also ask you some questions about your health. And it happens to every single person that goes into custody. And the reason why the custody sergeant does that is so that the custody sergeant knows how to look after you. If you've got any medical needs, if you need any medication, or need to see the doctor.
That is not true, because if that was the
case,
you would not be retaining the information for 6 years after I'm detained. Right, so how does it help my health to have that information 6 years later? If you've just told me that, but you're saying it's retained for a minimum of 6 years, but it's
I never said that. You're saying that.
Well, I know it is, because I've literally received a letter.
It is.
Yes.
It is, but I never said that.
But then, no,
I am saying it now.
It was recorded so that it's for my benefit. I'm getting really fed up of being told this. It's being said to my benefit.
I never said it was for your benefit. I said it was for the benefit of the custody sergeant, so he or she knows how to look after you or any other person that gets brought into the custody area, so they know how to look after that individual person.
So that
is the reason why they take those medical details down.
So it's recorded for 6 years, so they know how to look after me.
That's correct.
So they know how, you're literally claiming, so they know how to look after me while I'm being detained. It's recorded for 6 years after I'm detained.
I've never said a date. All I'm saying is it's retained by the police on a custody record. It is there.
For 6 years? I've been told the disposal schedule is 6 years at bare minimum.
No, not on a custody record, no. It will stay on that custody record forever.
Forever? So it never
forever,
gets
Joshua. So if you ever come into custody again, that particular custody or a custody officer can look at all the previous instances you've been in and look at the risk assessment and also any medical issue that there was the previous time you came in, or whoever comes in.
So it's never disposed of.
Joshua, it is there to help and assist the custody sergeant. That is the reason it is there. For no other reason
of my right to privacy.
Nobody else will see it.
Well, that's not true because I know a member of
It is true.
It's not because I actually have a complaint. A member of the Metropolitan Police of London cited the information specifically to me. So a member of the Metropolitan Police was able to see it.
What I'm saying is, police officers can see it, but they will not disclose it to anybody.
Well, so again, you've changed. It's not just
I haven't
custody sergeant
changed.
or West Yorkshire Police. It's any police
I
officer.
didn't say West Yorkshire Police. I said it is on the system, on our police systems. Nobody else, apart from the police, because it is a police system, can see it or view it. We don't give it to anybody else.
How is that relevant to my privacy?
It is solely there so we can look after the person that is in custody at that relevant time.
Not at the relevant time, though, because you're keeping it for 6 years afterwards.
I've just explained, Joshua, what happens is they keep it there so that if you come in again and say, for instance, I'm not saying you, but say, for instance, that one day or once this person comes in and says he's a diabetic or epileptic, and then the next time he comes in or she comes in, don't say it,
them.
It's not called stigmatising.
Well,
it's
it is
looking
what
after
you
people,
stigmatise me,
Joshua.
because again, I've been the victim of this. What would you
Joshua.
call the stigma associated with this?
Joshua.
6 years. It's so okay.
We are here to help.
No, you're not here to help.
I'm trying to help you by answering your questions.
You're not helping me by violating my privacy for 6 years.
I'm not violating. Joshua, I haven't violated anybody's.
Yes, you have. How many people have you personally arrested and then had their medical details recorded in a database in spite of them never being convicted of a crime? Because you'll have violated all of those people's privacy. I'm getting really fed of this past the hot potato. No one at West Yorkshire Police will ever respect any personal responsibility for the decisions you've made.
Joshua, I'm trying to answer your questions. Just what you've put on this call. You've complained about the custody officer taking the fingerprints and inputting personal data on our systems. Is that correct?
Yes, I also complained about the fact that a reprimand that what West Yorkshire Police told my MP was voluntarily removed apparently still exists on your systems. My MP, not just me, you also sent a letter to my Member of Parliament when they asked about it, saying that it had been withdrawn.
And or the police in general?
Excuse me?
Who sent a letter?
Who sent a letter? West Yorkshire Police.
Right, so in general then, not me.
I'm sorry, again, this is ridiculous. You are a uniformed employee of West Yorkshire Police. If I'm speaking about West Yorkshire Police, it is perfectly acceptable to talk to the member of West Yorkshire Police.
Just say West Yorkshire Police, Joshua. As I said, and I know where or what's your meaning by it.
You're getting personally offended because I'm calling your organisation bad.
No, I'm not.
You're choosing to be employed there. You're choosing to. No one's ever forced a police officer to be a police officer. I'm going to, if I say you as a shorthand, I'm obviously not referring to you personally because as far as I know, I've never even spoken to you before.
No.
So I don't know why you'd object to that.
I'm just trying to ascertain who sent the letter. So you're saying somebody from West Yorkshire Police sent a letter?
Yes, from West Yorkshire Police to me and my Member of Parliament. My Member of Parliament talked to West Yorkshire Police. They told him initially that no, they wouldn't remove the reprimand, just as they told me. But then eventually West Yorkshire Police appeared to have changed its mind. Except now I'm getting letters from West Yorkshire Police talking about how a reprimand would not be withdrawn and talking about details of the reprimand. If the reprimand was properly withdrawn, how does West Yorkshire Police have any information about it?
Because it's on record, I assume.
So it wasn't withdrawn. That's what I'm complaining about. If it's on record, it hasn't been withdrawn. So West Yorkshire Police
I can't understand why it would get withdrawn because they normally don't get withdrawn.
Well, then you should probably go and... I'm getting really annoyed at this confusion by West Yorkshire Police about its own organisation's actions. So if you can't understand, because my MP appealed and pointed out that we were going to sue West Yorkshire Police because I was a minor and I hadn't properly consented to it. That's why it was withdrawn, I presume. I haven't received an apology, just a letter that it had been withdrawn. So I don't actually know West Yorkshire Police's specific reason. All I can speak to is the reasons my representatives and my MP made when they spoke to West Yorkshire Police, which is exactly that. So I don't care if you don't know why it was withdrawn. West Yorkshire Police has lied to my Member of Parliament, not the current one, the last one who was elected before my current one. That's still an exceptionally serious matter if it hasn't actually been withdrawn. And there is a procedure. The Association of Chief Police Officers has an official procedure. It documents it for withdrawing records from the police national computer. So it's not impossible. It's not something that doesn't ever happen. It happens rarely. In this case, West Yorkshire Police obviously screwed up because either I shouldn't have been given it in the first place or it shouldn't have been withdrawn. It has to be one of them. And you can't take it back now. And if you've lied to my MP, you don't really have any choice but to make sure it is properly withdrawn now. So do I need to make a complaint about that? It seems a little absurd, but genuinely, has my reprimand been improperly withdrawn and I should make a complaint specifically about that? Would it even make a difference, considering half of West Yorkshire Police doesn't seem to understand what the other half is doing?
Well, no, I think they do.
Well, you're literally being confused about whether something's been withdrawn when I've received a letter from West Yorkshire Police saying it has been withdrawn. So I think that's a perfectly fair thing for me to say. I'm actually experiencing direct, and this letter that I'm phoning about appears to be confused as well. It's talking about how in 2013 the reprimand was not withdrawn. Well, I know that. It was withdrawn in 2014-15.
I'm now just looking
it's talking about the reprimand as if it's related to an arrest incident, which it wasn't. It's talking about the reprimand as if it's related to an incident in 2010 when it wasn't. It was from 2006. So again, West Yorkshire Police seems deeply confused about this, which warrants me questioning, have you actually withdrawn it?
Well, I'm just looking now on the system, trying to find what you're talking about. Let me just.
Because if you have, then I'm going to talk to a lawyer and sue, because it's one thing I expect to be lied to by West Yorkshire Police to me personally.
The last time you got arrested, Josh, was for a breach of the peace, wasn't it?
Excuse me.
In 2010, that's what it says here.
Right, so you can't get a reprimand for a breach of the peace. So why am I getting letters about a reprimand relating to that?
Well, that's not what you got. That's not what you got a reprimand for. I'm just saying you're on
so
about.
Do you know what I had? Do you know what I got a reprimand for? Again, I want to know.
You said in 2006.
Do you know? I'm not going to provide additional information if you haven't.
Well, no. Well, I'm not going to say.
What's the point in me withdrawing, in it getting withdrawn, if I'm then forced to provide you with all the information that was supposed to be withdrawn to check if it's been withdrawn? Do you understand that?
There shouldn't be anyone on there here. You know, I've got to be mindful what I'm talking. You know, if I am talking to the Joshua Atwell Skellington that's on here, I don't know you from Adam. I haven't asked for your date of birth. I haven't asked you for any personal details. You could be anybody, so I'm not going to give you personal details over the phone about that. That's why.
Well, so are you telling me that the only way for me to check if West Yorkshire Police hasn't lied about this is for me to pay for a subject disclosure?
That is correct. You have to go down those lines.
So I'll have to pay to see if West Yorkshire Police has lied about withdrawing a reprimand. It told me and my MP and my representatives that it had removed, because it's now
given... This is the reprimand in 2006 you're talking about then?
You think yes?
Right, okay.
I don't appreciate your tone talking about this as if it wasn't an improper reprimand in the first place. If it's been withdrawn and you're surprised at that, shouldn't that indicate to you that something went seriously wrong?
I haven't said it's been withdrawn.
No, but the letter to my MP has. The letter to my MP has. Right? And if you're surprised, you're saying you don't understand why. Doesn't that indicate, if it has been withdrawn, if you haven't lied to my MP, that something went seriously wrong? Because according to you, they shouldn't normally be withdrawn. So this obviously wasn't a normal case.
No, they don't. Well, as I said, to answer your thing, I'd need to look into this case. So, and I don't have that information to hand. So, like I say, have you tried getting this information, paying for it?
I've tried that before the reprimand. This is ridiculous.
And what have they said?
The only confirmation I'm going to receive is if I pay money to West Yorkshire Police to check if you've cheated. Why can't I make a complaint about the fact that I've tried to do that? This letter contains details from the reprimand. So I'm not saying have you done it? Obviously, that is ancillary to what I'm saying. I'm saying I've got letters saying it's supposed to be removed, and yet I'm getting information in letters suggesting that at a bare minimum, parts of the record have not been removed.
Who's sending the letters then?
What do you mean? I keep telling you, I have letters from West Yorkshire.
You know you haven't.
What?
Joshua, you just need to slow down so I can understand some of the things you're saying.
It is very difficult for me to talk to people. If your people actually cared about the details you keep supposedly for my safety when I'm in custody, you'd understand my disability makes it difficult for me to talk to people.
Joshua, I have tried to explain the reasons why the custody sergeant took those details asking questions
can I
about
ask
your
you
medical
this?
history.
Because you haven't explained one thing. If I was arrested for alleged breach of the peace, why were my fingerprints taken? That's not an arrestable offence. That's not a recordable offence.
Let me just have a look, see if your fingerprints were taken out of this breach of the peace. Because I've got the record right here. So you're saying there were?
Yes.
Is that right?
I should be very clear about this. This is part of why I think it was absolutely unacceptable.
And this is in 2010?
Yes. At no point was I actually explicitly told my fingerprints were being taken. What the custody sergeant...
Joshua, your fingerprints was not taken.
Yes, they were. Okay, and explain this to me, please. The custody sergeant behind the desk told me to take my hand and put it on a glass pane on the desk. I did that. There was a light. I did it with the other hand. He specifically
I'm just looking at it now.
He said, put your hand there. And what I was told was, in a letter, they were not retained, my fingerprint details were not retained, but they may have been used for a live ID purpose. I looked it up later, and apparently that means a fishing expedition to see if I'm recorded committing any other crimes with those fingerprints. I was used the word live ID. Then why was I told to put my hand? Why on earth would a custody sergeant say, put your hand on there? I remember it so clearly.
Joshua, just a second. For an instant, for a start, a custody sergeant listen to Joshua, the custody sergeant never takes anybody's fingerprints, ever.
Then can you tell me what happened? Do you think I'm lying about this? Why would I lie and then actually say I was never explicitly... If I was going to lie, I'd say that I was told to do it. What I'm saying is I was told to put my hand...
You're not listening to me. At the custody booking desk, there is no fingerprint facility there. You have to go into a special room to have your fingerprints done. The only thing that happened to you, looking on this custody record, is you had your photograph taken. You didn't have your fingerprints taken when you got arrested for the breach of the peace, because it's not a recordable offence.
Then why was I told to put my hand on a glass pane on a desk?
Are you sure that wasn't? They do electronic signatures at the desk.
I did have to sign my signature, but there was a glass pane, because I know computing. I thought it looked like a scanner, right? Because it was dark glass with some sort of mechanism behind it in the middle of the desk. And again, I'm not lying about this.
No,
I'm trying to think
Joshua,
what happened, because I was told very
slightly again
by the man.
Joshua, did you have to put every individual finger on that?
He told me to put my hand on it. Then why did you do it? Just to screw with me? Because that's what I was thinking was, because they decided...
Right.
You
did not get your fingerprints taken. I don't know what that was.
Then the custody sergeant was just messing with that. Because I
don't know, because I wasn't there. And it was 6 years ago, or 7 years ago.
I was a vulnerable person, and this is exactly what West Yorkshire Police likes to do. Claim that because I was so traumatised by this, I didn't immediately take action, but I must have known that if I didn't take action then and there, I'd have a problem.
Well, anyway, Joshua, listen to me. I've tried to answer the question on your complaint about your fingerprints being taken, and there wasn't. I've tried to explain that to you. There was not taken.
So
I am not lying to you.
Just screwing with me.
I don't know. I wasn't there, Joshua. I cannot say what happened then, but I do know what didn't happen, which you did not have your fingerprints taken.
If you are a custody sergeant, could you give some guess as to why I was told to do that? Because I'm really confused about this.
Joshua,
I was told to put my hand on a glass sheet with my fingers spread out. That's why it makes me think fingerprints. It made my fingers spread out.
It wasn't. I don't know what that was for then. Maybe it was to search your hands. Maybe they thought they had something in your hands. I'm not sure. I'm only trying to think why that would happen. But Joshua, you didn't get your photograph taken. Sorry, you didn't get your fingerprints taken.
I did have my photograph taken. West Yorkshire Police agreed to remove it several months later.
You've got that. Yes, that photograph was taken. The fingerprints was not taken. The reason why they ask you about your medical is just so they can look after you, Joshua, at that time.
Please stop saying that. Stop saying look after me when you previously said it's not for my benefit. Well, that's ridiculous.
It is for your benefit and the custody sergeant.
6 months later. Okay, I'd like to point out this really does, because I intend, if West Yorkshire Police doesn't take any action on this, to take legal action on the basis of you violating my right to privacy. Because 6 years is too long. And you explicitly told me on this phone call that you're doing it for my benefit. We're not going to get
any further than this. So do you want me to make a complaint then? Do you want me to put a complaint in regarding about your fingerprints and, let me just have a read of this, and we've got your personal details in our system. Do you want me to put a complaint in about that? Because I will do.
Yes, if it's
And
not,
it'll go to the...
if you're saying it's not fingerprints, I'd like to make a complaint asking what exactly this custody sergeant was doing. And was he just... Because my personal feeling was, at the time, since I later found out, this wasn't an offence for fingerprinting, that what he was trying to do was teach me a lesson about what it means to get arrested.
Right.
So he thought he'd simulate me being fingerprinted, so I'd learn what it was like.
No, that's fine, Joshua. So the complaint is the custody sergeant did that to you, and do you want me to put the complaint about that then?
Yes.
Because I can do, and someone will get back into you. They'll look into that, speak to the custody sergeant, hopefully he'll remember, or there'll be a record of it, and then someone will contact you to say, or to give you an answer of what happened there.
And
okay, I'll do that.
Can you put a complaint about... Again, I have a letter here. It's the latest letter. Again, I don't have the letter about the reprimand being withdrawn to hand. I think actually it may be on my email account, so I can probably find a scan of it. But so I can't tell you off the top of my head who specifically sent it. It will have been a named officer, but I forget which. But I have a letter here from Officer Leslie Townsley, which is dated the 27th of January 2017, and it contains lots of details about the reprimand, which again, I've received several letters and communications from West Yorkshire Police, and so has my Member of Parliament saying it has been withdrawn. That is the word used, withdrawn.
Yeah.
So I'd like to, okay, again, that seems not confrontational enough, quite frankly. I don't want to know why these details are being recorded. I want to make a complaint about the fact that they exist at all in West Yorkshire Police systems. And I also want to point out, if they do, that means they lied to my MP. And it shouldn't be any more serious than lying to me, but it actually is more serious than lying to me to lie to my Member of Parliament. And it is an outright lie, because the letter I was sent from him, forwarded, well, containing, of course, a letter from him as well, stated very clearly it was withdrawn. No equivocation, no ambiguity.
Well, no, so
and I also at least add to that, if I'm expected to actually pay money to check if West Yorkshire Police has lied to my MP, that is ridiculous. Because that's what seems to be suggested. I actually had to pay money to get a subject disclosure just to check and see if there's nothing on it, because my MP was told that there wasn't.
Okay, no, that's fine. I'm just taking note of that. So I'll put that down on the complaint about what you're complaining about.
Can I make a general complaint about the fact that I'm being told that that West Yorkshire Police is recording my private medical information at the time I am detained, against my consent? Obviously, no one's going to be detained while consenting. But
well, I have tried to explain that to the reason why that gets done.
No, what I want to complain about is the fact that I'm being told the rationale is it's for my protection, and yet initially I was being told...
No, I didn't say that.
I
didn't say that.
For my health.
So the custody sergeant... I said it's so the custody sergeant knows how to look after that individual person. They do a risk assessment.
Okay, thank you. I understand. So to be very specific, I want to make a complaint about the fact that the custody sergeant's practice of recording medical information so that they know how to look after that person indefinitely for a detention isn't even relating to a criminal offence, because my right to privacy has been infringed. At bare minimum, my right to privacy is engaged because it is private medical information on the basis that I should be looked after indefinitely for a non-criminal offence. So because I'm detained for less than, 3 hours, 6 years ago, I'm being told now by you, recorded, that information, my private medical information, will be retained indefinitely. And that is an infringement of my right to privacy. And it is absurd.
Okay. No,
and I think it is particularly offensive, since you're probably going to try and force local resolution onto me, so my touchy-feely
No, I'm not.
Okay, West Yorkshire Police as an organisation will try to force local resolution onto me. So just to make sure my feelings are very clear on the matter, I think it is offensive that I'm being told that this is being done for my health, so I can be better looked after for an indefinite amount of time for something that wasn't a criminal offence at all. So no one is safe from this. Everyone can have their private information retained indefinitely, and being a good person who never commits a crime isn't good enough, because West Yorkshire Police will take it upon itself to record that information indefinitely. You've just said it will never be removed. That is ridiculous. It's absurd, and it also means West Yorkshire Police has previously lied to me, since I've got letters from West Yorkshire Police repeatedly stating that there is a 6-year disposal schedule, that it will be reviewed every so often, and if it is found to be incorrect or inappropriate or not relevant, or it simply shouldn't be stored for privacy reasons, it will be destroyed. So what I lied to in the past, and I've been told there's a disposal schedule. It also means the disposal schedule published on West Yorkshire Police's own website is a lie, since you're telling me it will never be removed.
Okay. I'm going to put down what you're complaining about, and it'll go to the PSD department. Okay.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Well, it's not okay, but it's going to have to do.
Well, that's all that'll happen from this phone call. You know, if that's what you want. I have tried to explain to you. You're not happy with that explanation, and you obviously want to put the formal complaint in.
Oh, I'd like to know. Do I need to complain to the PSD about this before going to the Information Commissioner's office, or do I wait for the PSD to give me an excuse 6 months from now before I go to the Information Commissioner's office?
No, you can do. I assume you can do that as well. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, Joshua, is that it?
Yes.
Okay then. Thanks very much.
Bye.